So here is where I calibrate. Calibrate my fingers to calibrate my fingers so that it knows it's my hands, and it gets used to the way that my fingers are moving. And then we save that. And then the next thing we do is this postures thing. So it took us quite a while to figure out, and a few of us were sitting out in the garden trying to imagine what are the postures that we need in order to flip between different modes. So we decided that this was quite useful. Puppet hand was quite useful. Open hand, pointing the point. Something called secret thumb, which became the secret finger. And a null posture, so I could kind of do things and not have to worry about something triggering all the time. So this is what Tom did. And then some of this we realised was
neural network.
So it's the neural network that recognises these different postures. It's called something quite exciting. What does he call it? What was it? Multi-layer perceptron. Multi-layer perceptron. So from that, then we realised that at the time we just had fibre optic sensors, fibre optics, to recognise the flex of the finger. We quickly realised that we were missing a lot of other things, like the gyroscope, the magnetometer, different types, so I could get my position in space, not just the shape of my hand. So enter Magic, who's a friend of Tom's, and Seb designs these sensors here, which are called X by NUs. And in here, well, you can ask me questions about it later, but it has, so basically this gives me the ability to get any position in space and the speed and my position relative to a set point. So if I wanted north to be here, so I always wanted this to be the centre, so I could pan, or I could kind of choose notes in relation to this. So I can kind of think about it as an instrument in some way, and then we can set it to north. It also sets it relative to my back, so that I can be north wherever I go. And so I can still play the same note like this, but if I set it to north for the audience, then the note would change if I move around. Okay, so now we have amazing stuff. Now I could have different speeds, I can put my hand anywhere, we create these postures, and we started to build possibility for me to really kind of do things on the move now. And at this stage they were becoming wireless, weren't they? No, not yet, yes, but becoming wireless. At first we were plugged in, and now we're wireless. So the next stage that we really needed to do, I suppose then, was to integrate the audio hardware that I was used to using on stage. So my microphones, my head mic, my in-ear headphone monitoring. So usually I had these little packs here and on the back, so that I can hear what I'm doing. I can also hear a click if I want to, and perhaps a note tuning if I want to, in the background. So Kelly then, with me, kind of got all of this audio into the patch, and then the next thing that we did was I needed now, well, okay. So originally we were thinking that we'd all go and make this inside a Max patch by building all these different instruments and making everything nice and my own bespoke Max patch. But then I realised more and more I was trying to do things that I wanted to do inside Ableton because I'm used to using Ableton. And I love a lot of plugins that I've been using Ableton. And we thought in some ways we'd be kind of redesigning something that already works so well in many ways. There are some things that we do in Max which I'll talk about, instrument specific to Max. And it's also how we connect to Reactor as well through the Max patch. And that kind of talks to Ableton as well. Because I wanted to be able to point to specific notes and change the intervals perhaps of where I was going right to left. So I'll just demonstrate that by getting every solo node and bringing it. So I did that by a mapping of items I decided that I wanted to have to bring in the bass. Goodness me, so much to talk about. To bring in the bass, I used my puppet hand down here that's quite the kind of interesting thing about this is that it shouldn't feel difficult to play. It should feel natural. It should feel, for me anyway, like this is, of course, how you would move a voice around, or for instance, this is, of course, how you should move a voice around. How you should move a voice around. So yeah, it's this how to make things that feel natural to play. You don't have to think about it. And when that performance for me is good, it means that the mappings are really, really sorted. I don't need to think about it. It's just like the natural movements. It becomes part of the performance. I'm not thinking about it. It's an extra layer that I don't think about, if I think about it. So there. So I was trying to demonstrate the bass. So I'll just go back to this. So here we have my open hand. So if I close my hand, it doesn't change the note. If I open my hand, it changes the note. And how I've got it set up. So how I've got it set up is that open hand is accessing the notes mode. So I'm going to show you the notes mode. So notes mode here. So I've got it set. So it says row 2. So that's the row. It's up. And it's got 2 columns. But I can set it to however many columns I want. So it says 2 columns. But I can set it to like 5 or 7 if I wanted to. And then I've set the, so here, open hand, and it says pitch at the top. So I've mapped the pitch to within Ableton. Here is the pitch. You can see the faders are moving up and down. So what I've done is chosen that I like the idea when I go low, I get a kind of subby sound, and when I go high, I get a more airy sound. I've also got my but I can also change the filters. And I can kind of pitch bend, I kind of augmento between them. And it just really feels like I'm inside the bass. It really feels like I'm in the movement. So I pretty much map anything to anything within Ableton now. And I'll just show you a few of the things, other things that I can do. So you've seen the bass. This thing we've seen, which is called the granulator. It's not called the granulator. It's called the micro, the macro, and the jellyfish. I'll open it. So in here, this is something that I was built. And what's really, this is how I solo. So I've just got that mapped to a solo button inside Ableton. So what's really, really great about this is that I really feel like I'm actually touching the thing that I just sang. I can almost see it kind of there. And it's really, really, it's just, yeah, I can't stop it. So this is something that Adam has built, and then we are kind of, it's within Max. And what's starting to form is this kind of, in my mind, this idea of creatures. But this is kind of a creature of its own. It's a vocal creative creature. That's quite obedient. But it can also be randomized. If I wanted to change the kind of where it was kind of moving around between my waveform. And this idea of creatures is kind of becoming something that I'm really excited about. So I'll give you another example of creatures. What I mean. So, for instance, okay, I'm going to show you this thing which Tim has built. Tim Exile. So, anyone know Tim Exile? So, Tim built this thing, this arpeggiating machine. So I'm just going to solo it actually, so you don't hear all these things that go.
first it records the notes.
Oh, no, so first it records the notes. So, first of all, it will record the notes. Oh, I've just soloed it. It will record the notes that I've just played in my notes mode. Okay, I'll just do that. Okay, so it's taking these notes, the last 12 notes of it, and then 6 notes. And then I do that, and then it's kind of arpeggiating around. And I'll have to show so much. So here, it's getting slower. So this is the pitch of whereabouts it's playing. And it is in the sounds. And when I go over here, I've mapped it so that it kind of goes into this kind of distorted thing. And so it's almost like, so here I'm catching it and kind of moving it around the stereo view. And depending on where my hand is, it's how quickly it's going to edit it. So I'm just using that for things like Ableton. Okay, not quite together, so anyway, I'm just using a beat repeater basically to do that. So when I flick my wrist, it goes into the arpeggiator. Again, this is something that not everybody has to map it like that, you can map it however you like, but it's this, yeah, you kind of create the features, how you want to play these kind of sound worlds, these kind of possibilities, what do you want in your hands at every one time? And so, it's this kind of very, yeah, it's becoming these creatures, they're multiple creatures. And I'd love to be able to kind of create a zoo of creatures that people can kind of inhabit and start to make. Maybe they play with each other and how do they react with one another. And then the other thing I haven't mentioned actually is the Connect, how we're using the Connect. So I wanted to, with the Connect, with the Connect, I wanted to not only have, you know, all of these possibilities in my hands, but I also wanted to kind of double up the possibilities by using the stage as an extra dimension. So if I go over here, hello, I go over here, and then I go back here, start to hear there's silhouettes, and then when I get closer, it's like, and I'm really into this idea of using the, how close I am to the audience, the proximity I am to the audience, and how that might influence the music. So when I'm back here, everything might get really, really loud, the drums might get really crazy, and then when I'm over here, perhaps the drums are only playing, you know, the hi-hats, or it's only playing the kick drum. And it kind of, depending on where I am on the stage, changes the whole shape of the music. It could even change the key. Because these guys have built this amazing thing where I can change the key. See, it says A3 mix slowly. So here you can see A3 mix, and then anyway, I can flick between different scales. That's a major, D major, A major. So I can use the stage as a way to kind of change whole keys, because I didn't want to have too many. I wanted to keep this musical, and I wanted to keep the things which are maybe not so musical as just kind of a movement between places to trigger whole presets of whole worlds.